Most people have a vested interest in learning more about the origins of their uniqueness. Naturally, a lot of people don't give a damn and take life as it comes. They don't think critically about the purpose, origin, or ramifications of their lives or careers. Most people consider life to be a time of vitality and concentrate on the structure known as the human body, rather than a spiritual being. We'll see whether this video reveals anything about the subject or the connection between our internal causes and the outside environment in which we live. We are interested in learning more about the individual occupying the body. Everyone has the subtle will to influence other people, whether they are aware of it or not. They want people around them to agree with their opinions. Countries anticipate that the international community will embrace their policies. But each tries to express their innermost thoughts about problems and causes that they believe are affecting other people's lives. Therefore, our task is to attempt, if at all possible, to estimate the nature of this inner power. Is it a characteristic unique to humans? Do other animals possess this ability? Is it something that develops over time, given by the body itself or by an outside force, or is it a chemistry brought about by the body's integration? At some point, everyone has attempted to provide an answer to some of these questions, but the majority of the responses have been theories. The challenge of determining the real solution is still unsolved. We can each make an effort to ascertain the reasons behind our beliefs and the ways in which we think. From this source within us has flowed an immense ingenuity that has filled the world with an endless variety of manifestations of energetic power. The energy issue is where it all starts because, like a cell or battery, whatever is inside of us is active. There is power within it. Now, the same energy supports every other bodily function, and it mainly keeps our hearts beating for the duration of our lives. That being said, this energy is more likely the source of the machinery that allows opinions to exist than it is the source of our opinions themselves. As our relationship progresses, something else also seems to surface if I am an intelligent relationship offline. It seems that people are divided into two levels. Those who accept and comply with environmental pressures without question belong to one of these levels. They copy what others do, whatever makes their lives easier or more convenient. There is also a smaller group that challenges inner life, finds expression, finds solutions to problems, and refuses to accept these limitations. As of right now, the individual is the only source of the problem's solution. However, most people only become partially aware of the power of problem solving. And it appears that this being is constantly trying to align the goals of inner life with the physical makeup of the body. Stated differently, the body will obey the commands of the being. This is precisely the area where one of the major issues we face now is located. What we actually do is grant the body or the personality the legitimacy or deference that the being within the body is entitled to. We start examining our surroundings in an attempt to comprehend the functioning of this human being. Naturally, the first thing we realize is that this power, whatever it is, acts through a body. The body is a kind of home, and the being within the body lives, exists, and functions within this home. It is a creator as well as an occupant. It shapes and alters the bodies in addition to maintaining them. Put another way, the body is no longer primarily the helpful servant of the being, but rather acts more like a tyrant or a jailer, dictating to the being how it will behave based on its desires. Under such circumstances, people accept patterns or conditions that are not in line with their inner lives, which leads to a great deal of conflict in our lives. As a result, they experience frustration, neurosis, and psychosis. A person who is unable to use their body to fulfill their purpose as a human being will always be at a disadvantage. The body is a fairly useful structure in and of itself. The right relationships between the bodily functions are, however, heavily conditioned by the environment, global conditions, and numerous moderating factors. We are now in a world where great souls must emerge from the common people of the earth, and in so doing, we will dominate the right laws of humanity over the artificial laws and practices of our generation. All of a sudden, we find that this outfit, which was meant to serve as a practical working vehicle, can no longer fulfill its intended function. It has surrendered to its own uselessness. The only thing the being inside the body is allowed to do is what the body wants it to do. The body now expresses itself at a functional level, starting with what are known as appetites. The body is driven to desire what it wants by these appetites. Crime, whether it be against the law or the body, is one of the main effects of these pressures. Diseases frequently strike the body that has been punished by ignorance or pressure that has been twisted, leaving it unable to support a human being. After considering these issues, the ancient philosophers concluded that life's underlying principle deserves to be regarded as a divinity. That's why we're going back to talking about people like Plato, Aristotle, and Pythagoras to understand something about these principles. Eternal life is the principle that lies behind the bodies, instruments, personalities, and forms of nature. This idea of eternal life is more than just a concept. It is a being that is inherently ruled and occupied by law. To put it another way, law and life are mirror images of one another. Because life functions according to its own set of laws, deviations from this pattern in personal behavior lead to problems. There is a reason the law, or life, within us exists, and it might not have anything to do with an individual's personal desires. As a result, the power of the body was often associated by ancient philosophers with a spirit, soul, or energizing force that contained the limitless glory of a divine reality. Stated differently, the inherent power of each person is boundless and all-encompassing, due to the existence of an infinite and all-encompassing divinity. Additionally, it is unrestricted in its divinity. Anything that divinity wishes to change, it can. However, in creating our bodies, divinity offers us the enigmatic allegory found in the first few chapters of Genesis. The goal of human existence is to gradually reveal the being within the body, through the body, until the body itself fully determines behavior. If the theologians and philosophers of antiquity were right, we possess a mysterious agent that is part of an endless life within us. In the Bible, there is a verse that says, "The soul that sinneth, it shall die." And there is another verse that says, "But the spirit shall return unto God who gave it." Every human has an infinite amount of life that can take on an infinite variety of forms and move within them all at once. Naturally, realizing this entails acknowledging the virtually limitless potential that exists within each and every enclosed individual in life. There is a pressure that never stops trying to show itself. Furthermore, as a result of the constant resistance to this pressure, the body eventually becomes an impediment. It turns into a constraint and a limiting factor, and a variety of situations can cause this state. We have reason to think about the possibility of heredity. It's not that man inherits an inner life. Rather, he frequently inherits physical flaws or weaknesses that are specific to his race, family, or historical era. As a result, the inner force faces constant opposition, a downward pressure that progressively shapes the mind into a medium for bridging the divine and the mortal. It is possible to educate the mind from below, but it must also be illuminated from above. The body is ruled by the spirit within, and the mind must learn to serve this spirit. This gets us to yet another idea. Education is therefore a process to liberate or bring to a manifestation the eternal wisdom that rests in the universal mind. Man resents obeying a body he can see and does not want to obey a spirit he cannot see, which is the root of most of the world's problems. Stated differently, he feels resentment towards the weight of the flesh, but he is unaware that these burdens are the forces that shape him into a creature capable of controlling both flesh and bone. This brings up the subject of energy, the force responsible for the body's growth, expansion, and multiplication in addition to keeping it alive. This requires us to assert that the body has an independent mind and that this mind is the inner life principle's eternal servant. Should the body's mind be divorced from the divine principle housed within it, that mind will turn into a hub of confusion. It will grow to be the breeding ground for hatred, envy, and ambition. If the body's mind is not devoted to serving the soul, it can turn into a formidable foe. However, the body's mind can become an effective ally when it commits itself to the realization of spiritual values. Thus, we have a body and a mind, and our mind is capable of thought, reasoning, and evaluation. Additionally, we possess a conscious power that transcends both the body's and mind's capabilities. We have the person whose inner reality, inner life, and inner power are working together with the body and mind. This inner force interprets its own intentions through the mind, and then modifies the body to suit those intentions. The inner life that permeates the mind is what unravels the secrets of the cosmos in which it lives, as well as the mysteries of its own existence. This leads us to the idea that the mind is capable of deciphering the mystery of existence itself. The ability of the mind to transcend materialism and recognize the unbounded consciousness that pervades everything. We become aware that we have two types of energy when we start thinking in this way: internal and external energy. Internal energy comes from a person's own resources, whereas external energy comes from using resources outside of oneself. Energy is required for all work, and the type and quality of energy employed determines the issue. Energy comes in different forms. Some are preservative, some are constructive, and some are destructive. The challenge of life is to channel one's energy in a constructive way so that each encounter advances and enhances the personal growth of the individual. It is simple to say that we ought to lead fulfilling lives. However, there are always going to be external and internal forces acting against these principles. To truly know oneself, a person must identify the types and qualities of pressures that can shape who he is, and realize that he is part of a larger, infinite plan that encompasses the entire universe. He must also acknowledge that every area of the cosmos has a divine mandate, purpose, and significance. The successful person is not the one with the most money in the bank. Success is the virtue of the great universal treasure of life itself. The more good we can achieve with the help of our thoughts and dedication, the better we will be. Put another way, over the course of millennia, man has come to believe that he is a thinking entity that is able to create the things that he needs and desires. However, This creative ability is only significant when applied to promote the welfare of all living things. Biology does not create the entity that resides inside the body. The creature is not innate to the body. The creature born to give life to the body is the one existing inside it. This entity possesses the ability to decipher the enigma surrounding its own existence and comprehend the immense predicament of existence as a whole. We study life and the relationship between our inner and outer lives until we reach the study of energy, the energy that is necessary for all life. Furthermore, this energy is not a finish. For now, it serves as a tool. The use of this energy must be prudent. It needs to be transformed into something lasting, something deserving of the person who possesses it. Any energy that is not transformed into a worthwhile goal is wasted. When energy is misused, it eventually destroys itself. Energy needs to be used for positive purposes, and its utilization needs to progressively lead to the identification of its endless source. For this reason, the infinite source of energy was considered by the ancients to be the universal consciousness. Everything with energy had consciousness, and consciousness itself was the source of energy. All living things, the world, and all forms of existence are products of a conscious source and are examples of consciousness in action. Thus, consciousness was the eternal source of energy, and energy was consciousness. All knowledge, all awareness, and all intelligence originated from this consciousness. Therefore, the great mystery at the heart of everything was consciousness. And when the person attained consciousness, he integrated into the boundless energy source. Energy developed into wisdom, which in turn became a manifestation of the unending love that is the origin of everything. Although the story is quite complicated, it is one that is well worth learning about because it has a lot to do with the things that we do every day. Therefore, energy is something we receive from an endless source rather than something we create. In addition, in its unadulterated state, this energy is unconstrained by the body, space, or time. The great universal motion that gives rise to everything is this energy. It is the movement of the planets and stars, as well as the motion of every living thing, cell, and form of existence. It is the great motion of consciousness, and all that is the product of this motion. As a result, awareness takes on the role of the creator, and the individual within the body can achieve universal comprehension by tuning into the boundless energy source. When the ancients claimed that man could become like a god, they meant exactly this. Put another way, the person possessed the ability to tune into an endless supply of energy, which was ultimately infinite wisdom. It was not possible to force this boundless wisdom upon the individual. It had to be found, and found only in the understanding of the immeasurable worth of wisdom itself. We have to look for and strive for wisdom if we want it. Energy must be received and put to good use if we are to have it. Energy has the power to destroy a person and bring about illness and problems. It has the potential to make him a powerful force for good as well. Everything hinges on how energy is used, and we need to be able to appreciate it and realize that it originates from the infinite and gives all living things the chance to develop. We can comprehend that we are all a part of an endless plan if we comprehend the law of energy. Our existence is not a random event. Rather, it is a deliberate aspect of the divine unfolding because we are all a part of a vast, universal consciousness. Understanding this purpose and interconnectedness becomes essential to solving the secrets of our inner lives. As we investigate energy more thoroughly, both internal and external, we discover that the external environment frequently reflects the internal states of people and societies. Disagreement, disputes, and disharmony can result from the misapplication or misinterpretation of energy. However, when energy is used and understood correctly, it can result in positive changes and improve the well-being of the individual as well as the group. According to ancient wisdom, the actual goal of life is for each person's divine potential to come into full expression. It is a path leading to self-realization, self-control, and unity with the collective consciousness. In order to transform our inner raw energy into higher attributes like love, wisdom, and compassion, we must consciously work toward this goal. The mind is a key player in this process. The mind is a conduit between the material and spiritual domains, not merely a mechanical device. The mind can serve the higher aspirations of the inner self, or it can be a slave to the lower impulses of the body. In its purest form, education is the process of arousing and enlightening the mind to recognize the timeless laws that govern existence. The difficulties we encounter in life, both personally and as a group, frequently result from ignorance of the actual nature of our inner strength. The body, mind, and spirit must work in harmony for the being inside the body to undergo profound understanding and transformation. The ancient philosophers placed a strong emphasis on the development of virtue, self-control, and noble traits. These qualities are inherent to the inner self and are not imposed by outside forces. By practicing these virtues, we can connect with the infinite source of wisdom and energy and live in harmony with the universal plan. Understanding energy, consciousness, and the meaning of life is more than just academic or philosophical endeavors. It has real-world ramifications for how we conduct our lives, relate to others, and advance society. It challenges us to consider our decisions, morals, and how our deeds affect the world and ourselves. In the end, the path of self-discovery is both an individual and a communal one. Because all life is interconnected, our personal development and evolution also contribute to the betterment of the whole. We set out on a journey of never-ending learning, development, and self-realization as we delve into the mysteries of our inner lives and discover our actual potential as conscious beings within the enormous fabric of existence. Thank you.